Today we're going to be discussing a highly requested topic, and that will be branded Synchro. Should you play branded Synchro? We're going to go over the deck profile. We're also going to go over the combo line of one of the combos that you can do to get to Synchro summoning, and we're also going to discuss whether it's actually worth it to play this over branded Despia. So let's get to it. We're going to go over the deck profile, then we're going to look at a combo line that allows you to Synchro summon, and then at the end of the video we're going to be discussing, is it worth it, in my opinion, to actually play the deck. Before we kick this off, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, that really helps, and of course gets us closer to 10k, and yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below as well once we're done with this. We're playing 3 Aluber, 3 Albaz. In this build, Albaz is important at 3 because you will get to it more consistently in the graveyard. You're gonna get Quem to send it to the graveyard, and you're just gonna need more than 2. I think 3, especially with Quem in general, just like as a general line of thought. Now that Quem is in the game, 3 Albaz is a must, in my opinion. Then we have our tuners, which are going to be 1 Quem, 2 Artesia, and then we're going to be playing 1 of the Golden Swordsoul. So the Golden Swordsoul, if you don't know, this was released in the Albaz Tractor deck. So yes, you do have this card in your bulk somewhere. It's a level 4 light spellcaster tuner. Its attack is not equal to its own defense, but it has really 2 interesting effects that can allow you to get more tuners on the board consistently. So first of all, it's sort of like a Altergeist Conqueror. If an attack is declared, you special summon this card so you get a tuner on the board and negate the attack. And if you control an Albaz fusion monster, you can destroy it. And then you can banish this card from your field or graveyard as cost and special summon a spellcaster whose attack equals its own defense from your hand, right? So this will be either one of these 2 girls. If you don't have a way to extend, if you already used opening and deployment, you can extend and use it. Of course, it's a live monster, of course, level 4, it's a tuner. It's a really interesting tech card, in my opinion, that I really wanted to try out. So give it a shot. You know, we got it in the structure deck for free anyway, so might as well use it. And then these are like the main starters and extenders to the deck. Then we have Tumor Courier. I think the Tumor Courier in this build specifically is important because the line that we go to in the combo that I will show after the deck profile, you use one of the Mercuriers to banish, like we did in the early Photon Hypernova combos. Then we're playing 1 Shrouded, 1 Tragedy, and then for the Bestial lineup, we're playing a lot of them. We're playing 3 Lubellion, we're playing 3 Magna, and then we are playing also 1 Serenir and 1 Druidsworm. We're playing branded and high spirits, so this dragon count, this high bestial count, comes in really handy. Because you can actually search any card in the deck using branded and high spirits in any one of these dragons. So it comes in handy. Of course, this is not a perfect format to play a lot of bestials, but since we play high spirits, we kind of mitigate that risk of overdrawing bestials because we can now use them to add Cartesia, Quem, Golden Swordsoul, Mercurier, and Albaz itself and Albion, of course. And it's important for you to understand that in order to go for the 10 lines, the Synchro level 10s, the Dispatter, the Chaos Angel, you need to get to level 6s. So you need enough of these to start off your combo because the combo includes Lubellion, so you'll see that after the deck profile. And then, a good amount of level 6s, so we have overall 8 ways to get to a level 6, which is all we need. And this is like the utility monster lineup. The high bestial count, you mitigate that with Brandon and High Spirit. So we're going to get to that in a second. 3 fusion, 3 opening, and then 3 high spirits. If you don't know what high spirits does, it has kind of a complicated effect. But basically what you need to do is, this is not a cost, by the way, so everything happens on resolution. If the effect is okay, you get to resolve the effect. You reveal a monster in your hand, and you send that monster and a monster from the extra deck with an attack or defense of 2500 with the same type to the graveyard. Then you add a card that mentions Fallen Valbas. So how does this actually works? We go for example, Brandon High Spirits and Serenir, right? We activate Brandon High Spirits, we reveal Serenir in the hand. That's after resolution, right? So you activate the card, you wait for a response. No response? Sure. I reveal the Serenir, and then I will spoil the extra deck for a bit. Take Serenir and Albion and Titaniclad, the Ash Dragon. They are the same type, and Titaniclad has 2500 attack or defense, so you send both of them to the graveyard, and you add a card that mentions Fallen Valbaz. So here, for example, I can just go ahead and add to my hand one, right? So you use this in one card in your hand, and of course you get a monster sent from the extra deck, which is very valuable. You can do this with Albion, get an additional effect during the end phase, and you add a card that mentions Fallen Valbaz. So this is the utility of this card, and this is why we play it. And since we play more Bestials right now, it makes High Spirits a search for almost every important card in your deck. So now if you open a Bestial in this, you're good, even if you can't resolve that Bestial. And of course, opening level 6s in this deck is great. 3 deployment, because we do want the access to a tuner in this deck, of course. I think deployment is still solid here. We have Lost in red. Gold Sark, I did bring back Gold Sark here. I also have a new secret rare. You can't see it even. What a scam. Because we're playing Tumor Courier, now this becomes a little bit more viable. And one Foolish, one Call by the Grave, Retribution, and Etude. So this is probably the best card in the build, and I would argue that after I get to my thoughts portion of the video, you can play this deck without synchros and just this card, and this card against a lot of decks is just a death sentence. So Etude, what it does, if you don't know, is that during either player's turn as a quick effect, you can synchro summon a monster using monsters you control, including a dragon monster. So essentially, you go for something like Cartesia and a Bestial who's level 6, you make a synchro 10 during either player's turn, so you can do it on your opponent's turn. That means you can get interruptions with cards like Chaos Angel. We're going to touch that. Another really strong effect that this card has, if you control a Bestial on the field, so if you control Lubellion, Saronir, Magnum, and stuff like that, if you control it, all monsters your opponent sends to the graveyard for rituals or for link summons, fusion summons, or synchro summons are banished, right? So it's a mini macrocosmos for a lot of decks, probably like except for Koshira or something like that, but you know, again, super heavy, everything is banished, right? So this card makes the deck tick. And now we're going to talk about the extra deck and the utilities over there, and the reasons why I chose to play and not play certain cards. We have the new Golden Cloud Beast Melong. If you don't know, this card is of course a Dragon Tuner, but the stronger effect is that if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target one face-up card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. So basically you can send this off with Granguignol during your combo, or if you're going second, or if you're trying to interrupt your opponent, right? Send it to the graveyard as an interruption. I think it's fun and it's fair and it makes sense since this is a synchro. Then we're playing the Dispatter. If you don't know what this card does, first of all, it's a huge monster, right? 3,500 attack, which is really, really good. Once per turn, you can summon a banished monster to your field. I think it should be light and dark, light or dark, yeah. So your banished Mirror Jade, summon it back. Banished Albaz, summon it back. Do whatever you want. Banished Kashtira Arise Heart, summon it back as well to your field once per turn. Another effect that it has is that when your opponent's monster activates an effect, you can shuffle one banished card. If that card was yours, you can destroy the monster. If that card was your opponent's, you can negate that activated effect. Make sure, yeah, if it was your opponent's deck, negate that activated effect, yeah. So it's a negate, it's a pop, it's a huge body, and it's a level 10. It requires a non-tuner dragon, which is of course all the Bestials. Then we're playing the one Chaos Angel. This card is very, very strong. Again, 3,500. And you can summon this without using tuners. So for example, you can use a Luber and a Bestial to summon this. It also gains effects based on the attributes used for it. So if you use a light monster to summon this, synchro monsters you control are unaffected by monsters' activated effects. And dark, your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So you can make this into a tower and protect your entire field. And of course, when this card is summoned, you can target and banish one card on the field. So basically, with Etude of the Branded, you can now quick synchro this on your opponent's turn and banish a card they control, which is really big. So if you combine this with Mirror Jade, you get a lot of banishes. And then lastly, we play Lilith, who you already know. Why am I not playing Baron? Because realistically, and I'm going to get that in the opinion part of the video in a second, you don't get enough synchro summons, basically. You're not going to use all of your synchros, so might as well use these, which I think are better than Baron in the context of this deck, right? I think that Overall, I don't think the branded Synchro is essentially better than the normal Despia branded, but I think that these two are better in the context of this deck. And you could add a Baron here. You can take this out, add a Baron if you want. You will very likely not Synchro summon 3 times in a game. I can probably guarantee that. Then we have Lubellion, 2 Albion. We have 2 Mirror Jade, Rindbrum, which is important. You'll see in the combo why. We have Albion, Chimera, Granguignol, and Titaniclad, which has some sort of gross thing on it. This is good because you can send this off of Branded High Spirits like we showed and get a Quem during the end phase, which is really good. And this is the extra deck. Let me see that it's actually 15 cards, right? So you don't get me in the comments. I found the 15th card is Sprint. Use Sprint. Sprint can pop things. So 15 cards extra deck, of course, right? And now let's go over the combo really, really quick. What we need for the combo is, I'm going to do this kind of fast and try to keep up. We're going to be using Aluber and the Lubellion here. So we're going to normal summon the Aluber, search, of course, for Branded Fusion. We're going to activate Lubellion's effect right here, and we're going to go ahead and search for a Bestial Magnamut, which is going to get us a search during the end phase. So now for this line, you can go Branded Fusion. You can send to the graveyard a Mercurier, and this is why we play 2. This is exactly the reason why. And you send the Mercurier and the Fallen Valbaz to the graveyard, and you summon Rindbrum, which is right here on the playmat. Awesome. And again, you have still an additional 3 cards in hand, besides what we search. So, Bestial Magnamut, activate the effect, target the Mercurier, and now we banish the Mercurier. We activate Mercurier's effect, and we can go into, of course, search a card that mentions Fallen Valbaz, and we can search Cartesia here. Now, we will activate Cartesia's effect. We're going to ahead and special summon it because we have Fallen Valbaz on the field or in the graveyard, of course. Then we can, of course, when we summon the Magnamut, we activate the effect. Don't forget to activate because this resolves during the end phase, so you add another Bestial. We're going to tribute it for the Bestial Lubellion here. Now, we can go ahead and activate the effect of Bestial Lubellion and place Etude of the Branded. So right now, every monster your opponent sends to the graveyard for a ritual or, Synchro is just banished instead. Now we're going to go ahead and use Cartesia's effect and fuse these 2 together. And we're going to go ahead and make the Granguignol. Granguignol is going to activate, and it's going to send Lulu Wallilith from the extra deck to the graveyard. Basically, this is where we end the combo here, right? Now, what we're going to do is go to the end phase. We're going to activate Lulu Wallilith's effect, and we are going to summon Quem from the deck. Quem is going to activate, and it is going to send the other copy of Mercurier, and this is, again, why we play 2. And now, what we're going to do is resolve the effect of Magnamut that we've already activated. And again, this is only 2 cards in hand, right? 2 cards. So now, on our opponent's turn, right? On our opponent's turn, commenters, this is no longer my turn where I'm locked into, fusions. Now this is my opponent's turn, okay? So, on my opponent's turn, when I'm ready to run some interruptions, there's a lot of things that I can do here. So, of course, I will start off with Druismur, right? Whenever I can, if there's an interruption or not, I can basically banish any of these. You don't want to necessarily banish the Mercurier here because we can use it. So I'll show a few things that you can do here. So from here on out, right, you can do a few things. 1, activate Etude, Synchro using both of these. And you can go into either Dispatter or Chaos Angel, right? If you go into Dispatter, you get a negate or a pop. If you go into Chaos Angel, this card is unaffected by activated monster effects. You get a banish on summon, and you get a monster send from Juris Worm. And of course, all of your monsters here are protected by battle. So this is what you can do here. But another interesting thing that you can do and not use Quem is go into a Synchro summon with Aluber and Druismur. Yeah, there's no tuner here, right? You can go into Chaos Angel because it doesn't require tuners. It's actually just a link to. So you get a banish. All of your monsters are protected by battle, but since the card left the extra deck, we can trigger Quem. And now Quem can trigger, summon the Mercurier, and now we have an additional negate, right? So we have an interruption from here, we have a negate from here, we have a banish and protection for your entire field. We have a Bestial, of course, that triggered, and we can send a card, right? And we have another negate. So there are a lot of things that you can do here. Now, I'm going to touch on my opinion of the deck in general. I think that this deck is extremely fun. I think this deck offers a lot of creative play. And I also think that calling it branded Synchro might not be the best marketing tool for this deck. I think this card can Synchro summon, as we saw. But I don't personally think that Etude of the Branded and these Synchros were built and meant to be used in Branded. You can use them. It doesn't mean you should use them. So in my opinion, this is a fun locals deck that is not better, in my opinion, than the normal Branded Espia build. I saw a build that have Dragoon in this, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, you can include all of those cards. But overall, I think this is a very fun and creative way. Probably not as good as Branded Espia, but, you know, you get to summon some white cards, so I guess we're going to take those. I really hope you enjoyed it and learned something from this video. I really enjoyed making this. This is a really fun combo, really fun field. Of course, using cards is always fun. Leave a like if you did enjoy it, is all I ask. Subscribe if this is your first time here. And yeah, love you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.